Oh, hello there. What is up, everyone? You know who I am. I'm Jack Slater, yeah, the comic outlaw. And, you know what time it is? It's Funko time. It's Funko time. Hell yeah, it's Funko time. Hell yeah. Alright. And, we're doing something a little unique. We're opening a 2-pack. And yes, this is a WWE review as well. Check it out. The Rock and Sock Connection. Mankind, aka Mick Foley, and Dwight The Rock Johnson. Yes, back in the day, before The Rock was this successful, huge actor who did movies like The Tooth Fairy and Jumanji. Back in the day, he was a wrestler, a humble wrestler. And to be honest, he had a great career, as did Mick Foley. And if you've seen my Mick Foley review on my show, you'll know that I'm a big Mick Foley fan. I liked him ever since back in the day in WCW when I saw him fight Vader as Cactus Jack. Foley has pretty much done it all in this business. He's the king of the death matches. He's had his body broken, mangled, and he's still gotten up. And if you actually watch the shows or read any of his books, he's actually a pretty nice guy. Very down to earth and a Santa Claus fan to boot. Believe it or not, the man who's dressed as Mankind also loves dressing up like Santa. I think it's cool. Anyways, check it out. And this is kind of like the Rock and Sock, you know, at the height of their popularity. And they were kind of a very interesting tag team because The Rock was just such an asshole. And Mick was kind of like his stooge, his muscle, and also sort of the comedy relief to The Rock. The Rock can be very funny, but The Rock was also kind of the straight man to this insane Mankind character. They were actually a pretty good team. They were a fan favorite. And yeah, they didn't have a lot of highlight moves or things like that, but people just loved the chemistry that they had. And of course, one of the highest segments they always talk about is when Mankind did this thing for Rock's birthday. It lasted like 20 minutes long. It pissed Vince McMahon off, but when he saw the ratings, I guess all was forgiven. Mick Foley has been one of those true blue WWE guys. Once he signed up, he's been on various shows. He's been on Foley, which wasn't that bad. Mick Foley is just one of those steady guys. He was an ambassador. He was a manager. Although I didn't think his run as general manager when they did the whole Raw brand thing was as good as it could have been. It had a lot more potential, but the writing staff is just so fucked up. Okay, you know, I'm going to say this. There was a time when wrestlers had more control of what they, said. And that was part of the character, getting to know their personality. They had to get themselves over. And some of the stuff these guys write, it just doesn't seem right. Some of the backstage segments, some of that stuff, it's like a soap opera, more soap opera than it is wrestling. And wrestling did have a little bit of that, but now it's just feels like you're drowning in it. Man. Ooh, well, I'm going to get off my soapbox for a minute while I'm up in it. Let's open this up. And you gotta love Funkos. You know, you don't need the key to the city. You just pull these suckers out. One more time so you guys see what I'm. And of course, these guys aren't bobbleheads. Would have been nice. Check it out. Back when Rock was the champion, he's holding the classic championship belt. And we got Mick Foley. This is Mankind, when he was wearing a suit and tie. And yeah, these guys were a very interesting tag team. I actually enjoyed them. They were very funny. They've had a lot of matches together. They have beaten the crap out of each other. Now, Mankind is actually credited for giving a lot of legitimacy to many different superstars. Triple H, for example, Shawn Michaels. These guys are real flashy. They had the charisma. They could talk, but they needed that hardcore edge to them. Randy Orton. They needed that verification, and Mick Foley was like the gatekeeper for that. And of course, we have The Rock, pedigree, super third generation superstar. You know, he's just one of the all time greats. Whether you like The Rock or not, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I was a Stone Cold fan. I wasn't the biggest Rock fan back in the day. I loved Mick Foley. The Rock was kind of He was funny, he was entertaining, but I like more of a, I don't know. It's back in politics, y'all. But I've always loved Mankind. He's always been one of my favorites. I've always rooted for him. I was happy when he got the championship. I mean, he's done so much in his career. And if you look up ECW, his time with Mikey Whipwreck was some of the funniest and interesting matches I've seen. Rocky is just pure WWE. You got to start there. When they brought him out as the Blue Chipper, I'm going to be honest with you that it sucked. He was so much better once they gave him his wings as a bad guy. Like Chris Jericho and so many other people, sometimes they're just better as heels. Or even when The Rock is a good guy, he's sort of a heel. And so is Mick. Mick, he has these moments where he has humor, he's a bit of a ditz, when he does different things, or, he tells what they refer to as dad jokes, back in the day. But when he got in the ring, he would rip your ass apart. And that was part of the appeal. So, were these guys good guys? Yeah. I'd see them more as fan favorites, but I just saw them as good out ass kickers. They did well together. They had great chemistry in here. I'm going to go over them one more time. You guys can check them out all the way through. They stand pretty good. Oh, yeah. Great characters. Check it out. First, The Rock. Check out the championship belt. That's classic right there. Boom. Boom. If you smell what The Rock is cooking. Dun, 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 dun. And then, of course, dun, 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 dun. Look at that mask right there. Now, originally, this mask, and Mick Foley has told this story a couple times, was the mask they kind of designed for The Undertaker when he broke his eye sockets and he wanted to wrestle. And they gave him this Phantom of the Opera mask. And for those of you that haven't seen it, check it out. It is, wow. It's like this white evil mask with this purple makeup that made his eyes just kind of bulge out even more. He looked like an evil, sadistic fool. A horror movie. It was cool. But this was one of the other designs. And since everyone has always talked to Vince about Foley, JR, and they've said this in interviews, has been the one that was trying to get him in for so long, and Vince was so hesitant on pulling the trigger on him. He didn't know how he was going to use him. He wasn't what a superstar was supposed to be, in Vince's mind. Vince has a very, let's just say, specific idea of what he thinks a champion should be, and Foley never fit in that, whereas The Rock did. But Foley, over the years, has proved himself to be more than a beneficial character of the WWE. He's loved by millions. He's a best-selling author. I mean, this man has done it all. Well, except for acting, which The Rock has done. But The Rock is not that good of a writer, so... But anyways, these Funkos are really cool. I'm actually glad I got them. It's a nice 2-pack. It really does a good job, kind of showing them off, back when The Rock had hair. Look, check it out. The Rock has hair, y'all, and sideburns. He used to dress sort of like Elvis. He used to take part of that style. Actually, that's why in the game plan, all that Elvis stuff, that was The Rock's idea. That was also in an interview too. And these guys were really good. I recommend their matches against each other. They had a lot of good matches. Their tag team matches were cool too. They reunited in one of the WrestleManias for the last time before Foley officially retired. I recommend these Funkos. They're really cool. They're nice to have on the wall. They capture both of them really well. I really do love the Mankind one, except that it doesn't have Mr. Sacco, but oh well. I mean, like, it would have been nice if he was hanging out of his pants or something, but I guess that's the way the sock folds, if you know what I'm saying. And as always, this is the Comic Outlaw doing my little Funko review, WWE review. And if you like it, subscribe, man. Subscribe and spread the word. Because if I don't get subscriptions and I don't start making that money sooner or later, I'm going to have to start making my money in other ways. If you know what I'm saying. And I'll catch you on the flip side.